You're watching National Streaming Sports, over 20 podcasts, 70 shows, and a 3.5-star rating on Roku TV.
Introducing National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk programming that you can access 24/7. For the premier sports talk experience, tap into our Roku channel. Start your mornings with Mac and Jack covering all the weekend sports action. Then pour a cup and enjoy all the sports you can drink on the Coffee and Sports podcast. At midday, talk sports from east to west on the Coast to Coast podcast. Followed at night by some hot girl talk with Prim and Proper Sports featuring Sonja Pearson. Talk boxing on the Gloved Fist. Yankee fans tune in for Start Spreading the News. And there's more on the College Sports Huddle and Sports Scope with Robert Butler. There are 20 podcasts in all and 70 weekly shows giving us a 3.4-star viewer rating. To find us on Roku TV, search for National Streaming Sports on the Roku search bar. Click on the logo and you're in. National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk for America.
Yeah, yo, it's game time, ain't no messing around. Huddle Sports Network, the best in town. From NFL rumors to the latest trends, we got all your sports, just tune in, my friends. Catch us on Roku, Fire Stick, take your pick. Facebook, YouTube, where the action's slick. Daily shows that drop like a bomb. From 10 to 11, it's Ken and Ken, stay calm. Huddle up, catch the vibe, feel the rush. Get your news, get your fills in the clutch. Over 27 podcasts, we breaking it down. Join the team, Huddle Sports, wear the crown. Live every weekday, it's how we roll. Lions Talk with Jeremy B, we taking a stroll. From 11 to 12, don't miss a beat. We break down the game, make the info sweet. The Daily Huddle Podcast, noon to 1. CST Zone, we're just having fun. Toss your doubts, we bring the facts. Tune into the Huddle.
And good morning from myself, J-Train and Jack. Happy Saturday, everyone. Happy Father's Day to J-Train and Jack and all the dads out there. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Sonja, James.
Yes, this is our morning show, the debate show. We talk all of today's hottest sports topics. First, before we start, did you guys catch that Pacers and Thunder game last night?
Oh, they played last night. I didn't know that, Sonja. Oh, wow. I mean, I thought it was tonight. Okay, what happened? Who won?
Yeah,
Oh,
Jason,
goodness.
give us the spiel because you told us it was the most interesting.
Start here. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you saw the game, right, Jack? You being sarcastic, right? Yeah. Look, the Pacers, I knew the Thunder were going to come back and win that game. It was too close for comfort. I just thought that the Pacers allowed the Thunder to pull a page from their book, hold on just until the end, and then go ahead and win the game. You got to give credit to SGA. SGA is just the guy. I really thought that the Thunder would lose that game by all intents and purposes, looking at how it was going. But just right in the fourth quarter, I said, nah, you don't give this team that much room. And you can see they started pouring it on defensively. So I just give credit to them, and then miss key free throws at the end. The kid, the hero from the previous game. What's the guy's name? Benedict. I can't think of his last name, but yeah, he missed like 3 free throws in a row that were crucial. And so, yeah, that just to me, the winner of that game last night is probably going to be the winner of the series. And I think it's going to go 7, but it's probably OKC like I thought in 7. So we'll see.
I really was pulling for the Pacers.
The Pacers have already exceeded expectations to me because I saw a 4-5 game series, but the Thunder finally they showed up, and I think they're going to carry this through the rest of the series. It's like they were struggling. Then all of a sudden they put it together defensively at the end. We're getting stops. The Pacers couldn't execute. Uh, Chet Holmgren, what he did on the defensive end was just as important as what SGA did towards the end of the game. SGA has all the headlines today, with the 15 points in the fourth period. But what Chet Holmgren did, he basically, shut down, the inside lane. And he was a major difference maker in a way that won't show up in the box scores. And also, the Thunder changed their strategy a bit. They had, Jay Williams bring the ball up and handle it more. And SGA was able to kind of roam a bit more and get open, create some offense, spend less energy for SGA. SGA didn't have to carry the whole team on his back. And then at the end of the game, it appeared that he didn't offensively. But they had something left at the end, the Thunder, and it finally came together. You got the feeling they've been struggling all series, save for game two, at least in games 1 and 3, and they were struggling mightily in this game 4, and then they finally put it together, and they put a clamp on the Pacers. And if the Pacers lose this series, they're going to look back on game 4. This was the pivotal game. This was a game the Pacers could have won. And had they gone up 3-1, they would have had 3 cracks at it, and chances are they would have won one of the the remaining 3 games. But now, I like the Thunder to win the next 2 games. It might very well go 7. And listen, let's not discount the Pacers' chances because we know by now in the NBA, visiting teams can win on the road. I mean, I'm a big believer, I don't know about the two of you, that every team, an elite team that struggles a bit, they have one big game in them during a series where they're going to kick the other teams behind something bad. And I don't think the Thunder have unleashed that game yet. I didn't think game 2 is that type of game where they'll really run wild, and everything is going to come together and they're going to turn into totally dominating performance. And I have a hunch that might be the case in game 5, that the Thunder might actually win on a rout.
Good morning to Brent and good morning to Woody of the Hollis Report. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sorry, J Train. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. Yeah, look, game 5 is going to be pivotal. It was pivotal last night. They could have put their foot on their throat by going, on a victory run with going up 3-1. It's just really that's sometimes that can be deflating when you have an opportunity to do so and then you lose. But I like coaching in this situation. Carlisle has the championship pedigree. He has the experience. You see, he's made adjustments. I think they're like you said, they're like the little engine that could. They are exceeding expectations, and maybe they might have hit the point where maybe they hit a wall. But I think Carlisle can do some more things with them to make adjustments for game 5 going and winning on the road. It's just going to be hard. But I kind of agree with you in the sense that I think the Thunder, we haven't seen the game from them where that one game where they just blow the team out and you see what you've been seeing from them all playoffs long. And they're going to have a big game at home in the OKC. But I like the chances of the coaches. And I still think that there's an opportunity for each team to win, but I just think it's going to be the Thunder win. It's going to be the Pacers win, and then the Thunder win to win the series.
With Tyrese Halliburton, he's been the big name, the most charismatic name. And what I was saying to Sonja, James, earlier, this week, I think it was Wednesday's show, if I'm not mistaken, he's not a superstar.
Not yet.
He's a good player. And last night showed it. He played a good game by average NBA standards. He was very good. But by superstar standards, didn't quite show up. You know, he had 15 shots on the game. He didn't take over the game. A superstar takes over the game at some point. And Tyrese Halliburton intermittently does that in the series. He might do it in a game 5, a game 6, have the type of game that wows you. Oh, he gets 38 points, a bunch of assists, you know. It just looks great. But he's too inconsistent that way. He'll have a great game, then he'll play an okay game. And the real superstars don't do it. You know, I think of Tyrese Halliburton more along the lines of a Jimmy Butler, not quite the big superstar like a Steph Curry would be.
Well, I will say this. I actually agree with that, Jack. No pun intended. You know, you said he plays okay, you know, for OKC and for the Pacers game, of course. I mean, this was a game that was just not pretty, in my opinion. You both have very solid stances on what happened. I definitely agree now, J Train, that this probably will go 7 games. I mean, we are here on the cusp of 6 anyway. The Pacers shot 11 of 36, only 30% from their 3-point range for the entire game. And I think that was the deficit. However, OKC had a poor shooting game as well from deep. They only had 3 of 17% for the entire game, which is extremely low and a season low for them. But despite this, because of the errors and crucial plays they were made, errors on the behalf of the Pacers, they were able to capitalize and get the win. And not a pretty game at all. So we'll be staying tuned for those next 2 matchups. Let's hop on over to our debate questions. Of course, Jack always poses some very interesting discussions and sometimes debates. It's very rare that we all have the same opinion, at least 100%. We have fractions of an opinion that mirror one another's. But let's get started with those. First question, because we're keeping it basketball right now. Of course, you guys know the Knicks have fired Tom Thibodeau, unless you've been living not just under a rock. You have to have been living under a mountain if you don't know that at this point. But they're looking for a coach, and everybody's saying, no, we don't want you to talk to this person, that person, or the third. So everywhere they were looking so far, they've been kind of blocked. So Jack poses the question, and we're going to talk about it right now. Who would be the best coach for the Knicks to hire as their new coach? So I don't know if that's a debate question, but it's definitely one that prongs the intellect. So I'll start with you, Jay Train, since Jack posed the question.
Okay. Well, they're in a conundrum. I don't know what they were thinking and what their plan was when they fired the coach, Thibodeau. But they can't get the guys that they're looking at that they want to propose a trade for is Ime Udoka, Jason Kidd, a few other guys. I just doesn't make any sense to me that, you know, these teams already shut them down, and I won't even allow them to even consider that, which I agree with them. I would keep my coaches. But now on the market is Mike Brown and Taylor Jenkins, which is some interesting picks. And to me, looking at Mike Brown, if I had to pick out of the two, I would think that that'd be the better option. But he's no different than just maybe he doesn't play his players as long as Tibbs. I'm sorry, it's hard for me to discuss this when I know that Tibbs still should have been the best option, like B should have put out. But I'm going to say Mike Brown.
Good morning.
You can pick Tibbs if you want as your answer, James. He's still available. They can come back to Tibbs. So that's what they do. Throw it out there.
Oh my God.
Yeah. No, I'm not gonna throw it out there because that's just so goofy. But that's typical New York brass to do some goofiness like this. But yes, so I would say definitely Tibbs will be in the mix. But I'm gonna pick for sake of just picking somebody that's different than him. I'm gonna pick Mike Brown because I think Mike Brown is a great defensive coach. Wherever he's gone, he's shown he's had some good success. So hopefully he can bring some defensive prowess to this team. But I don't know what's any different than Tibbs. They need to bring some other players that will be, better defensively to help with that. In order to play chess, you need to have the right pieces. And so I just don't think that they have for a defensive, because they were offensive. They need some defensive players on the team. So Mike Brown, if he comes in, they're gonna have to do some things this offseason to get a couple more 3-and-D players or some wing defenders out there, perimeter defenders to help bring his scheme in. But I'm gonna pick Mike Brown.
Now, funny thing about the Tibbs situation, what I was joking about, they could actually do. They could actually go back to Tibbs. He has 3 years left on his deal. Give him a 4th year, because Tibbs might say if they offered it back, why would I come back? I'm getting paid for these 3 years anyway. Offer him a 4th year. Say there was a lack of communication, and the fans are still ridicule the Knicks organization, like what are they doing and so on. But let them come clean and say, look, it was a mistake on our part. We were wrong. It's a question of cut the losses.
Have you ever seen anybody of a professional organization come back? I can't think. I'm sitting here racking through my brain. Do you know how humiliating that would be for them? They are not going to do that, Jack. And Tom Thibodeau's going to be like y'all said, he's getting paid. The embarrassment of firing him, to know that was a headline after he took that team to the playoffs. He got as close as he could. And then for you to make a spectacle of him, to fire him in front of the whole world while everybody, Knicks Nation is strong. I would take my check and be sitting down somewhere, and I would say, I would think about it. I would not come back like that there.
If you want the job, if you want to come back bad enough, you really still want to be the coach, you swallow your pride, and they come to you, and let's say they extend you 1 more year. They add another year into your contract as a question of goodwill. So this way they're doing something, and they come back to you, okay, fine, we'll let bygones be bygones. There'd be some hard feelings, don't get me wrong, but maybe you would work things out going forward. Maybe there hasn't been communication.
I'd require a press conference in front of everybody after this.
Sonja, there was one case kind of with something like that happened, and you're the one that's good at Googling because I forgot the name. In the early Super Bowl years, very early Super Bowl years, there was a Los Angeles Ram coach that was fired, and the players were so outraged, and the assistant coaches didn't want to take out the head coaching job, but they brought him back. I forgot the name. It could have been Chuck Norris. It could have been someone else. I forgot the name, but I agree with you. It's rare. It's bizarre, and they really can't come back to Tibbs at this point unless, let's say, Tibbs contacted them and came to them and they sat down and they talked it out. Then should the Knicks make the move? And Tibbs will say, look, I can change. I can do this. I can do that. It's a possibility it could happen, but I think Tibbs would have to initiate it. But realistically, okay, I hear what James is saying, the 2 choices that he mentioned. Why would you want to go back with the Grizzlies coach? He got fired during the year because there was low energy and this and that, and they needed a change during the season. I mean, why would you want to promote him to a bigger market in New York? Brown, if you look at Mike Brown's history, he was the Cavalier coach, and the reason, a 2-time Cavalier coach, they let him go the first time because LeBron James didn't care for him. Okay, LeBron James has been a coach killer in certain ways. Let's be honest about it. LeBron has that, dark side to him in that regard. The same thing happened with David Blatt. He was complaining about Eric Spoelstra. Reportedly, he wanted him out. Now he's buddies with J.J. Riddick, but we'll see how that is going forward. But he got along, LeBron, with Tyronn Lue, because Tyronn Lue is a strong personality. And for whatever reason, they got along so good. But, with Mike Brown, so they let him go because LeBron was a free agent and Cleveland wanted to re-sign him. So LeBron then goes to Miami. So Cleveland hires Mike Brown back a year later. I mean, you can think of that, right? That means they didn't want to fire him to begin with. So that had LeBron's fingerprints all over it if you need any evidence
Oh,
of that. So he goes to Golden State. He served as an assistant under Steve Kerr, on a championship team. And then he goes to Sacramento. He winds up being, a two-time coach of the year. He's a very good X and O guy. Has a wonderful personality. He's got the nicest smile of all the coaches in the league. You can't help but like Mike Brown. Okay, and he's a good coach. He's a good coach. You can't help but like him. But is he really an improvement of Tibbs? Is he just an extension of Tibbs? It's like you're getting another version of Tibbs, but maybe a guy his intensity level is different on the surface. Put it that way. Tibbs looks like he's always sad. Mike Brown looks like he's always happy. Okay.
So Jack.
Can I say one thing though? Let me just give you my choice. Sorry, and I'll make it quick. I would go with Sam Cassell. That would be my guy. Sam Cassell. Okay. 20 years assistant, coach, great resume, champion as a player, assistant coach right now with the Celtics. He would be my guy.
That's interesting because go ahead, Sonja.
I just need to plug in two things, guys. I'm just really hosting anyway, to be honest with everybody. So listen, just to back up real quick, Jack, you were talking about the LA Rams coach. That was Chuck Knox. However, Chuck Knox served with them from 1973 to 1977, got fired, did not come back to 19 years later. So it wasn't a back-to-back rehire. He came back in 1992 to 1994 with the Rams. So they rehired him, but it wasn't like the very next year, like what we're talking about with Tom Thibodeau.
I think they tried to fire him, but they didn't quite get it done because the players had a mutiny and the assistant coaches wouldn't want to take the job.
Yeah, and let me just plug in my folks. Good morning, Richard. Good morning, Steve-O. Richard says, does he have the best smile on his resume? That's funny. Let me tell you guys who I would bring up as my coaches. So basically, Jay Train's already mentioned Mike Brown, but I think this question is going to depend on what the Knicks want to prioritize in the offseason. They got pretty far in the playoffs. So what are they thinking that the missing element would be to help them get to where we see the Thunder and the Pacers are today? I mean, they got pretty close. But if they're going for defense and development, they need to look at Taylor Jenkins. He worked with the Grizzlies as a younger team and their core, and he definitely put a lot of defense in that team. And you see how the Grizzlies have really improved on their defense over the years. Of course, Jay Train's already mentioned Mike Brown. He's got the veteran experience and definitely key leadership that we've seen with multiple NBA teams, not just one or two. And he has a good reputation in the league for building offense. So if they want to go with an offensive-minded guy, they would definitely look for him. But if you want to look at basically looking at the best locker room that everybody's talking about, the media's talking about this person, it is Jason Kidd. He's a former Knicks player. He's been linked repeatedly through a lot of outlets about the Knicks, being interested in speaking with him. Even though he is under contract right now with the Mavs, the best coach is just going to be whichever one that the Knicks think that they can incorporate into this roster. And I mean, it really does sound really almost embarrassing that they're not pleased where they are. Like it's literally like an all-out win. They weren't satisfied where they were. So it just depends on which one they're going to bring in. I think Jenkins and Brown would be the better ones as the leading candidates on this one.
I know Jay Train, who he would really hire if he owned the Knicks. I mean, Jay Train doesn't want to look bad now, but I know who he really prefers. That's Isaiah Thomas. Jay Train would pick the phone up and call his guy, Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah with that smile would give him Jay Train some nice lines, and Jay Train would say, "You're my guy."
He was already their guy when he was there. He was the coach before. And look, I know he didn't do a good job, so you're not going to bring him back. Definitely. there was some
You
issues
love
there.
Isaiah, though, but you love
I do,
Isaiah.
I
So you never
do,
know
I
he
do.
would get an interview with you. He would get an interview.
Absolutely. I think
There
he's
you
done some terrible things with organizations, but he's done some good things too as well. But I would definitely you what you proposed was a interest in Sam Cassell. The interesting thing about Sam Cassell is that he's never gotten a job all these years. He's always been a bridesmaid, but never been a bride. You never got never got a job as a head coach, and I'm wondering why. There's got to be something there to not allow you to be a head coach. If you're young and spry and you innovative, you got some things going on. Some team's going to take a shot on you, and he's never had that. So that makes me wonder: would he be a good, interesting pick for a head coach? I don't think he would. And to go, I backtrack on what B. Strilla said. The organization. If you go back to Tibbs and pick him back, it would be embarrassing to the organization. It's already embarrassing now that you fired him, but to bring him back and to look at, I mean, why would you do that? Because it makes you look inept. It makes you look like you don't know what you're doing in the back office. Why did you do it in the first place? And so I wouldn't do it. And the fans are probably like, well, why are we going back now? Are we even on the right track here? Are we trying to move forward, or we're trying to regress and go backwards? Also with the team, the players. Why would I mean just when you made the move? Why are we going to do this now? Why are we going back to this situation? And if I'm Tibbs, I'm looking over my shoulder because I don't know. I mean, you fired me. I mean, why are you bringing me back? I got your money, but I don't want to go through this again. I mean, eventually it might end up him being fired again. It's just like I would rather if I'm Tibbs, I'll take my money.
You can't, you could, the other things you can say, that's fair game, but you can't speak for Tibbs. He has, he'd have to do what he wanted to do. You can't tell him not to go back. He's 67 years old. He's probably not going to coach again, even though he might, he might be a candidate and go elsewhere. That's a possibility. But he's comfortable as being coach of the Knicks. He knows the players, the personnel, the city. If they offered him the opportunity to come back, they'd sit down, they'd have discussions. Look, LeBron James came back to Cleveland from Miami after the owner really put him down savagely because he wanted to come back. LeBron actually swallowed his pride. He sat down with the owner, he talked because he wanted to come back. What you're saying is fair, but don't we can't tell Tibbs what to do. He'd have to do what he wanted to do if he was given that opportunity.
I mean, immediately though, I mean he's probably in his feelings. I mean, if I'm him, I'm just trying to think empathetically. Like, man, you just got rid of me, and we're on the cusp. We're on the cusp of winning the championship. We were right there. You hadn't been there since 1999. Why would I want to come back when I can go start? And then look, I mean, Tibbs is not all. He got to be culpable for something. I mean, he playing the players and starters too much. Their defense. He's usually known for his defense, and they really weren't great at defense. Mind you, he didn't have the greatest pieces, but at the same time, he's got to take some culpability. So you're right. Maybe he does come back. Maybe they do. Yeah, I mean, if they were to take him back, maybe he accepts it. But at the same time, we're right there. I don't know if I'm Tibbs, if I'm in his shoes, do I want to come back when I can take a break? I don't. Yeah, I can take a break and take your money and sit on the beach and drink some pina coladas.
I think you raised a more interesting point with Sam Cassell. To be an assistant coach that many years and never seriously be in the running for a head coaching job, and also being a big name NBA player. Okay, with the Houston Rockets, two-time NBA champion, broke the Knicks' heart in one playoff game, beating them on, with a bucket. Why hasn't he been, a serious candidate elsewhere? And you kind of wonder. I mean, what's the reason? Is this another Eric Bieniemy situation?
Correct. Yes.
I mean, you wonder.
I don't know, guys. I'll say this. I'm going to keep your money and I'm going to stay at home and chillax. And I'm going to use this money to go on vacation and decompress and enjoy the world. I'm going to use all those money, pay the taxes, of course, and just enjoy life. I mean, the typical American is already looking to retire at 67 anyway. Even though we see coaches that are, past that age, we see uh, politicians and those type of people that work past that. 67 is still fairly young to do whatever you want to do. Just depends on the type of conditioning and mental capacity you still have at that age. And I think that the sky is the limit for him. He was publicly humiliated. The only way I would come back is I would still take a year off. You'd have to come back to me a whole time later. You're not going to bring me back right now. Now I've already started planning my vacations. I'm mad, and now I'm using that money to just kind of just go see the world or go do something different. I don't know, stay at home, drink tea all day. I don't want to think about the demands of coaching and trying to condition a new team because the draft is coming up in a couple of weeks. I'm gonna have to be front and center for that if you hire me back. I'm gonna have to be working once again. I've had no time off. And the fact, excuse me, that I took this team for the first time this decade to the playoffs, and they hadn't been actually, I don't, since 99. I mean, J Train, you and I were just out of college around that time. And so that's significant. That is significant within itself. I'm going to enjoy the money and I'm going to come back later on. And you're not going to, and if you do, when you do bring me back, I'm going to require a public press conference that you apologize to me because I was the best thing since sliced bread for you.
Sonja, you would put Tips out to pasture. Okay, why don't you put him in a nursing home pretty soon? Start making arrangements. If you enjoy coaching, and he let him continue it as long as he wants. Just because someone has money, they'll be bored to no end just hanging around. Play a little golf, do a little gardening, sit, watch some soap operas on TV. Oh, no. He's a basketball junkie, but Tips isn't being offered the job back. It's highly unlikely, but I will agree on this. It's a long shot that he would be offered it back, but if he was, the Knicks should hold a press conference and formally apologize to him there in public. Exactly. As far as the owner went, saying, look, we did this and that. I want to apologize to you in public. And the Knicks didn't humiliate Tibbs. They humiliated themselves, the organization. Tibbs has never been humiliated in this process. The Knicks have been the one who, cast a negative light on themselves, not on Tibbs.
Yeah, well, as I like to say, the verdict is still out, but I don't think this is going to be something we have to look at anytime soon. They would be the laughing stock of the NBA for many years to come. Nobody would ever forget that they did that if they tried to reach out to him and get him back right away. But it does say a lot that teams are blocking the Knicks from interviewing their people. Like, you literally are screwed, I guess, and that might be the reason why. It's not just the fact they have contractual obligations and their coaches are successful, but they may be looking at this situation like, what else did the Knicks want? This guy literally took them to close to the finals. Like, you're there. You're sniffing the confetti, guys. Oh my goodness. And they,
well, they weren't quite that close to sniffing the confetti. I mean, but let's see if another
closer than my Hornets and Hawks.
Wait. What no one has really addressed is Tibbs going to get another coaching job in the NBA? It's easy to just say yes. Yeah. But I haven't heard of anyone reaching out to him immediately at this point. Wow, Tibbs is available. Let's go after him.
He's probably on a cruise somewhere. They can't reach him right now. That's why it's not coming out yet. They've been trying. He's not answering any calls.
He's gonna get a job. Let's move on to the next. Yeah. He's gonna get a job.
We spent a lot of time on those little raggedy Knicks and Thibodeau. Let's talk about. There's another NBA question, but this one is a long one, and I know what the time we got left, so I'm gonna switch to this pansy one. But let's just be like this, Jack. These questions that we don't necessarily get to, I do want to bring them back. I don't want to just not bring them back. We're going to talk about that other NBA question next Saturday. God willing.
No.
Yes.
Well,
I don't
know
want
how
to talk
long
about
it is.
that. We
I
only
don't
have
have a lot.
20
I don't have a
minutes.
lot to say on the other NBA question for what it's worth.
Yeah. J Train is disappointed, Jack. Let's go ahead and do it for him.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
Thought-provoking.
Counting college, international play, NBA, etc. Who is the greatest basketball player in history? J Train got me when he said no. Okay, I'll do it. All right. So this is always the talk. I'll let you guys talk and I'll plug in on the end. This is a debated question. You're talking about all levels of play for basketball. Jack, I'll start with you.
I'll go quick. I'm not going to be long. I'm usually long.
I'm looking at the timer, Jack.
Magic Johnson actually inspired this question because he was on First Take and they were asking him the greatest players. He said Michael Jordan was the greatest NBA player of all time, no question about it. LeBron second, Kareem third. And he's not putting down LeBron because you know how close Magic was with Kareem, his teammate. But Magic said if you count college, count the whole big picture, Kareem is the greatest player of all time. Jordan's the greatest NBA player. And it got me to thinking, wow, let's talk about from when Kareem played at Power Memorial High School. He was maybe the greatest high school player of all time. Kareem was the greatest high school player of all time, I think. I'm not sure about him, Will Chamberlain. He was the greatest college player of all time without question. And he's absolutely on the short list of the greatest NBA players of all time. And Jordan wasn't that good a high school player. So Kareem completely crushes him on the high school level. It's no contest. On the college level, Kareem was clearly a better player than Jordan. Jordan won an NCAA title 1 year, and then they didn't win it the next 2 years. Kareem won it all the time he was there, at UCLA. And then in the NBA, you can argue Jordan was, a better NBA player, but not by much, not decisively. They both got 6 NBA titles. So, but Jordan has the 2 Olympic gold medals, and Kareem refused to play in the 1968 Olympics. So does that shift it back to Jordan, the 2 Olympic golds? I think if we take the whole package from high school through the NBA, we give an edge to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar because he won a championship also with the Milwaukee Bucks. Jordan won his all with the Bulls, and and it's thought-provoking, but I'll give Kareem the edge if you take it from high school through the NBA.
J Train, very good, Jack. You did keep it brief, 2 minutes. Okay, go ahead, J Train.
I love the pick from Jack. I researched this heavily, and we've always had these debates. I've had these debates with some of my friends, with family, everything. Because you look at what Jack said with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I mean, 3 championships with UCLA. He's got 6 total in the NBA, 1 with Milwaukee, 5 with Los Angeles Lakers. He's all time the greatest. He was the greatest scorer for a long time until it took LeBron a long time to come back and beat that. So this guy is impressive. I agree with all the things he's done from high school all the way up. And he's even got a patented shot. The skyhook. You look at it. I mean, no one else did that like him. And no one can stop it. That's another thing. I mean, it's hard to stop a 7'2" guy's skyhook shot where no one can really get up there. But with that said, and mind you, the criteria for greatest players also, you have to be someone that's good on both ends of the floor. You got to be an offensive player and you got to be a defensive player. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had 11 all defensive teams, so he's up there. But I'm going with Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Yeah, I know he wasn't great in high school. That willed him to be better. He didn't have a 7'2" height. He's 6'6". He grew to be 6'6". He got into the UNC. They didn't. He didn't win a championship. He won a championship as a freshman, and they always showed that great shot, but he wasn't a great player. He kept getting better. The sky was the limit for him. And I saw what B. Trilla said about Russell. I had him in the top five as well as the greatest of all time because of the championship and how great a defensive player he was and how he shut down Will Chamberlain. But I'm going to say Jordan. Jordan just kept elevating, kept elevating. He had no players like Kareem had. Kareem had an Oscar Robertson when they played in Milwaukee, the first guy to average a triple double. As big as Kareem was, as great as he was, Jordan, you can't name any player on his first team before when he first got to the Chicago Bulls. There's nobody on that team. They drafted Horace Grant. They drafted Scottie Pippen. And they home grew. Jordan got better. He had to get through the Pistons. He had to get through the Celtics. He had to get through the Lakers. And he got through them all. And he did that being the first player to be MVP and Defensive Player of the Year. He is the greatest. He not only did he do that, he revolutionized the game monetarily. He revolutionized the game with endorsements. He became the face of the league. To me, he is the greatest player. He does not have the highest point total, but he didn't need it. In the short span of what he did with the Bulls, three plus three, even if, and we can all speculate what he could have did in between had he not retired. One of the greatest runs I've ever seen in my life. And I'm not even a Michael Jordan. I'm not a Chicago Bulls fan. I respect Michael Jordan, so I give him the props from what he did. I'm not a fan of Michael Jordan. I'm a LeBron James fan, and he's not the greatest. He's not the greatest. Michael Jordan, to me, is the greatest player.
Good morning to Miss Linda. And I want to just plug in real quick if I can. I agree with J Train. However, I am a Jordan fan, of course, because he's from the Carolinas. And he's actually the first cousin of an aunt of mine that married into my family. So consider me partial, but it's not even about that. He was already on his way to greatness when I knew these things. 6 NBA championships, 8-year span, 91 through 93, my high school years, and those were pivotal. Then college years came back, did it again. 2 3-peats. He alone was the sole reason for establishing the Bulls as one of the greatest dynasties in sports history, not just the NBA. 6 finals MVPs. Every time he reached the finals, he won. He was named finals MVP, 6 of all those victories. Perfect 6-0 record in the finals. Every time he went to the finals, they won. And even though J Train talked about him not necessarily being a leading scorer, he did lead the league in scoring 10 times, including no, you're good, including one of his games, 37.1 points per game in one season, 86 through 87. And he definitely had a scoring prowess. And then, as if the offense wasn't high enough, in 1988, he was defensive player of the year because he was basically able to play on both sides of the ball. And that was a big thing. He was also named the 9 All-Stars, all-defensive team selections. 10 selections to the first team, scoring versatility and defense, Jack. You can't name anybody.
Are we listening to the question? Are we talking about the greatest NBA player or the greatest player taking everything into consideration from high school, college, NBA?
So he was cut in high school. Everybody knows that.
We're just talking about the NBA.
Well, because when you look at it,
Jordan, I'm willing to give Jordan an edge over Kareem as far as being a greater NBA player, even though it's close. Let's give an edge to Jordan. Let's agree. But if we start taking college and high school into consideration, does Jordan still have?
So you want to talk about Kobe then? Kobe came in. Kobe and LeBron, high school.
Kobe didn't play in college, so he wouldn't even be in the discussion. Shouldn't even be.
You said high school. You said high school.
Bill Russell won an NCAA title. at San Francisco. Then he won an Olympic gold medal, and then he won all those championships at the Celtics. Bill Russell deserves to be in the discussion based, on what he accomplished. If you want to talk about Will Chamberlain's stats, you could put him in discussion, but Will Chamberlain wasn't a closer at all. So I couldn't put him up there for that reason, even though he was arguably the best individual talent. As far as this Jordan thing that James mentioned, if he didn't lay off for baseball, think of all the additional championships he would have had. Well, I'm going to tell you a fact. This is a fact. He only didn't play one season because of baseball. One season. The 2 years they didn't win in between, he played one of those years. He came back and they got eliminated in the playoffs by the Orlando Magic. And I'm going to hear, well, he was rusty, this and that. And Sonja, you're saying all the times, he's 6-0 in the championship finals. What about all the years that Jordan couldn't get his team to the finals? We're giving him a pass on that, like those years don't exist.
It's about his peak dominance. When you look at it, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Will Chamberlain, Magic Johnson, and Bill Russell, he's gonna hold the edge.
Hold on, Jack. I did mention, I said it took him a while to get there, but he overcame those obstacles. He got there. He got there. That's the reason why nobody's walking around with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's on their feet. They're walking around with Michael Jeffrey Jordan's.
But they're greater player.
Yes, that's what. When he got to his peak, sometimes it takes them a while to get to a certain place. You got to climb a mountain to be on the top. You can't you don't start at the bottom. Some of these guys, yes, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar could see the top of the mountain because of his height. Jordan had to get there. I'm just saying, my point is, I think that his ascension makes him the greatest. He wasn't, like you said, that makes him even better because he wasn't great at high school. He got cut, but his mentality said, you know what? I'm going to show you better. And I'm going to continue to be better. I'm going to continue to do this. I'm going to continue to do that. He made up things to be aggressive, to have a killer instinct, to win, to be competitive. He was the most competitive SOB that most of his contemporaries say that they've ever played against or did anything.
How competitive he was as an owner of the Charlotte Hornets.
Now, here you go. You said player. We're not talking about owner.
Miss Linda said Jordan is considered, and thank you, Miss Linda. Good morning. I hadn't even had a chance to say good morning to her. She said she liked the debate, and she said Jordan is considered as the GOAT because he never lost in the final.
Well, Joe Montana is better than Tom Brady because he went 4-0 in the finals. And Terry Bradshaw is better than Peyton Manning because Terry Bradshaw went 4-0 in the Super Bowl as well. Okay, so let's use that criteria.
Sorry, Miss Linda.
Right?
Linda, I'm gonna attack you the way I did Mac. Okay.
I mean,
so look, go ahead.
No, I agree. If you're talking about, and let's be clear, Jack, even though you're saying high school, college, and then professional, let's be clear. How many people actually remember a high school player that doesn't go on past high school? If this person from high school doesn't go on into college or go on into the league like LeBron did when he was McDonald's Player of the Year, I still remember that. How many people are going to even loop in a high school player that doesn't do anything with it? You're never going to be looped in with someone who doesn't make a career in it when you're trying to talk about comparisons.
Oh, past high school, I agree. There have been a lot of great high school players who just never advanced to the NBA period. And if they did get there, they were very, bench players or whatever, didn't last, a variety of reasons. But Kareem has been acknowledged as the greatest high school player of all time. He's been acknowledged as the greatest college player of all time. And he's universally acknowledged somewhere in the top 5 amongst the greatest NBA players of all time. And Jordan is now rated as one of the greatest high school players. By the way, he wasn't cut from his high school team. he was sent to the junior varsity in his freshman year.
JV.
There's a bit of a myth putting the coach down. And Jordan's skills weren't that great at the time, but now it makes that coach look bad, you know? But Jordan did develop into a phenomenon. If we're just talking about NBA marketing this and that, you know, okay. I'm not going to argue about Jordan being the best. And again, let's not forget Bill Russell's accomplishments. And Bill Russell wasn't a scorer. That's the thing about it. You know, he just didn't score. I know he averaged 15 points a game, but he really wasn't a scorer.
I mean, let's be honest. This is one of the topics that everybody talks about all the time. I'm pretty sure this topic is talked about by somebody once a week in the world because it's just that big of a topic. Did you guys have any closing thoughts on this one? We may have time to squeeze one more in very briefly.
No,
all right, we got that one wrapped up. So there you have it. Let's talk about Aaron Rodgers real quick because we got about 9 minutes left here. Aaron Rodgers, of course, finally to the Steelers. Violins out. Bring on the standing ovation or tiny choir. Will he actually be the starting quarterback past just this season? You know, the Steelers only gave him 1 year to show and prove. Do you think he's going to be here like next year this time? Or are we still talking about him coming back with the Steelers as a starting quarterback?
Jack, I'll let you take this.
Yeah, I'm going to, as much as it pains me, I'm going to say no.
Oh.
Because the Steelers are going to have a good year for that to happen. And I just don't see it. I think they're one of the teams that's going to slip. They've had a winning record, the last 17 years under Mike Tomlin. I believe it's 17 years.
You mean non-losing record. I do not like how they phrase that.
Well, they've won more than they've lost all those years. And they only have DK Metcalf, you know, as a viable receiver. They don't really have a running game. TJ Watt is having his contract thing. Their defense is going to have to come up big, and I just don't think it's going to go beyond this year. I mean, and he's going to be 42 years old by the time the season ends. You know, one quick thing, and then I'll turn it over to you, James, about Mike Tomlin. He inherited Ben Roethlisberger when he became the coach. And Roethlisberger's a Hall of Famer. He hasn't had success with the quarterbacks he's brought in. I mean, they drafted Mason Rudolph in the 3rd round. He's been a very nice backup, which he's going to be for them again this year. Mitch Trubisky, Dwayne Haskins, you know, Kenny Pickett they drafted. It just hasn't worked out. So Mike Tomlin hasn't been a quarterback guru. We'll see with Arthur Smith, the offensive coordinator, what he could do with Rodgers, whether Rodgers is going to adjust to a new system. I don't think this is a good fit. I just don't.
Look, I have to agree with you. I don't think it's a good fit either, but I just know that I think this is the path that Rodgers has taken. He accepted it. And that tells me, and he accepted it for $10 million guaranteed, tells me that he really wants to play football. He really wants to play. And it's probably the most viable option for him out there was the Steelers. There were really no one else calling. And I mean, the Vikings could have taken him. He could have went the Brett Rodgers way, going from the Jets to the Vikings. But and I think they talked. But obviously that didn't go well.
Offered him a position. They didn't take him. He couldn't have gone.
No, I think there was just some interest on both ends. They didn't offer him a position. There was just some interest on both ends. But with that said, they didn't take him. They didn't offer him anything. So he comes here. He wants to play, and I think he wants to make it work. I think he wants to show in the back of his head, I'm still that Aaron Rodgers. I'm thinking with any greatness, with any great player who's been on a level that this guy has, they have to have an ego to say, I can still make things work. Even if it's maybe 80% or 85% of what I used to be. So I think he'll probably want to make it work with the Steelers. But I agree with you to the sense that they don't have a running game. They only have one side with wide receivers, but there's still some names out there. Maybe Cooper can come in. Maybe they can get Gabe Davis, you know, another guy that's out there to add to as a second fiddle to DK Metcalf. Yeah, exactly. So there's something that could be done. I mean, the season. I mean, we haven't hit the first game of the season yet, so I think there's still time to get some more pieces in there. There's still some guys out there. It's just not no sexy names, but I think Rodgers wants to be able to make things work, and I think he's going to try to do that. He's going to work his best. He's going to try to make this situation work with them. And I think if it doesn't work this season, he stays one more season. If they give him a contract, I think they'll give him a contract for another year if he wants to come back.
Yes, and I definitely see both of you guys' points as valid. It looks like Brent kind of read my mind a little bit. Of course, Brian saying Keenan Allen's still out there. Cooper's with Seattle. Let me plug my opinion in before I get over here, because I know as soon as I put this next comment up, it may bring some stuff up. And Miss Linda says, Mac is rolling his eyes over this one. Yes. I will say this, guys. I feel like, just like you guys both said, it proves that Aaron Rodgers does still want to play. He realized, like, hey, not that my phone is not ringing like it once was, or my name is only being linked with one team. I'm not getting a lot of people, trying to contact my agent, this, that, and the third. Let me see, because I am getting ready to be 42 years old this year. This is literally my 42nd year. His birthday's later on this year, December, in fact, almost the end of the year, but still, he's long in the tooth as a quarterback. I've had this major injury with this Achilles. I've bounced back later in my career. This is an injury I got late in my career, which is an indication that my body is wearing down, despite me conditioning, despite me doing what I'm supposed to do, going sniffing mushrooms and everything. I'm still eligible and liable to be injured. And even more so now, my stock is going down. It's just everything in life. You cannot do what you once did in your youth. No matter how much mentally you want to do it, the body says no. And so I think that this 1-year contract is not necessarily to see if he can bring them a championship. I think it was just the fact to see if he can stay healthy enough to perform. And then they will bring him back, despite them having a non-winning, non-losing, whatever they say about themselves season. They will extend Aaron Rodgers if he can stay healthy, if he can keep his mind clear of the drama, and if he brings more productivity than negativity to that locker room. I think that's what we're looking at here. I think he would be the quarterback long haul, because the Steelers backed themselves into the corner. Who else could they possibly get at this point? Unless they're using him as a placeholder, and they have to be with his age, at least for another season, until they can draft a quarterback in a next draft class that has a better quarterback draft class.
They drafted Ryan Howard, the starting quarterback for the
Willie
national
Howard
champion Ohio State. Will Howard, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Will.
I'm sorry. And let's see how he works out, whether he's going to be a viable option down the road. And Mason Rudolph is very capable backup, but we'll see. Yeah, but but I'll say this just in closing. Last thing I'll say: imagine if Aaron Rodgers was young and in the prime of his career. The majority of NFL teams, the vast majority, would have very gladly gotten rid of their starting quarterbacks right now to just have him. Everyone would be cleaning house virtually.
He'd be on a team in January. He'd be on a team after the Super Bowl was over if he was available. Yeah, we wouldn't even be talking about whether or not he's in Egypt or somewhere or in the cave, because he'd be, like you said, he'd be on a team right now.
Absolutely. And happy 250th birthday to the U.S. Army. There is a military parade today. Go Army, beat Navy. LOL. I know Bistrilla's on here. He's Navy, but yes, happy 250th birthday to the U.S. Army. Happy U.S. Flag Day. And like we started the show, happy Father's Day to all. J-Train Jack, always a great show. Jack, amazing questions, very pointed, very discussion heavy. Thank you, everybody, for the likes, loves, comments, and participation today. We appreciate you guys. We hope you have an amazing one. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. sharp, before your Sunday morning gets started. We're starting here with all the sports news. And join us on the Roku Network, National Streaming Sports, for all the sports throughout the day without the cost of cable. We wish everybody a good day, even though Bistrilla's talking about Rodgers. All right, good night, guys. Good day, guys.